And I am alive right now. Hey guys, how is everyone doing today? Um, I think I will wait for people to see the stream and also share it on my um, YouTube. Um, so yeah, so I'm just. I think let me try and also share this very well. Hey, I see there's one person watching already. Um, Please let me know. Say hi so that I can give you a shout out or something like that. I'd really appreciate that. And thank you so much for being here. Um, and having this, choosing to have this conversation with me. The reason why I'm having this conversation about colorism, and I think from what you guys have been able to see on the post that I've just the thumbnail that I've had, is that I think I need to raise my laptop. Just a minute. Hey, there you go. How are you?
I'm okay, and you?
I'm fine. How is your day?
It's okay. The
Mine
kids are
too.
sleeping, so anytime they'll be up.
Let's just have these few minutes when they're still asleep and distracted. Mine just went outside with the dad. But
Yes.
yeah, I wanted to come back because yesterday when we were talking, my phone went off and then I
Yeah.
ended up using the same phone. So
Mm.
it's lost. Um, and yeah, so I wasn't able to save the live that we're having, but you are looking stunning today. How are you?
Thank you.
How are
Thank you,
you
and
doing?
you too.
Happy Sunday. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Mm.
very much. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, dear.
How is life
Unfortunately, I have a
on
cold,
your
so
side?
my voice is a little bit hoarse today.
Can you hear mine?
Yes, very clearly.
Mine is a little bit hoarse, which I think I need some water. Just a minute.
Yeah, I think maybe I should also grab something to drink. I'll also run and grab something.
Okay, I'm right
I'll grab
here.
something too.
Hey, Damaris and Andrew, how are you doing? Happy Sunday. Today my voice is misbehaving, but we shall have this live, okay? So, the reason why I chose to have this is I wanted to share my experience with colorism, the online bullying I've been going through, on color again, and also raise awareness, and also have to hear, like, I wanted to hear more of other dark women's experiences for on this topic, black skin, on the pressure of bleaching, on the pressure of not being beautiful, because I mean, not being beautiful because you are dark. Yeah, I wanted to hear what our thoughts are and what our experiences are. And you can introduce yourself, my wonderful guests.
Yeah.
Fish.
My name is Nyayenga Peace. I like to call myself Coach Pamongo, which means the peace of God.
Mhm.
Um,
I
Yesterday,
love.
when we had a chat and you invited me to come back here today, I couldn't say no, because colorism is a topic that is so near and dear to me. It is
Yeah.
something I have experienced while I was growing up. So when you told me about it, I was like, oh yeah,
It's
I am in.
about
Let's go
time.
discuss this. Let's go educate ourselves about this, and
Yeah.
let people know what the negative connotation of all this.
Today I was like, we just need to talk. We need to talk and we need to try and say some facts so that people
Yes.
do know. Because funnily, after we finished talking yesterday, and I don't know how my phone is, but for some reasons I had this video pop up of a lady who was advising people on how she bleached her skin the right way. And she started the beginning of the video is about this lady who's totally what is it called, you know, the chemical wash, this quicker way that people get bleached for events or something.
Yes.
God, I really don't know how my phone works. Okay, so I was just calling someone. There's this quick way of bleaching if you're going for events and stuff like that, that you're just able to go and get your skin done, and then you're able to, let me try and see, and then you're able to look as light as you want. um are you able to see the other lady, this
Oh.
one?
Oh.
You see what she's doing?
Oh. No. Stop it. Stop it. No.
And I
Oh.
was like, we all need to see things like these. We need to know that they actually do happen. And I
Mm.
have this platform, and I happen to be like really black, like really on the darkest shade of dark, you know, of
Yes.
being a black woman.
And you're
And if we don't
beautiful.
have this conversation, and you as well, if we don't have this
Mm.
conversation, there are many women who are now struggling with self-esteem, self-confidence, and stuff like that, that they really don't know if what their color is really beautiful. And I think to just give you a starter, and then you share for what you tell me how it is in your country. When I let me start by before we go to when I was growing up, right? When I had my son Matthew, is when I knew colorism actually do happen.
Mm.
So I'm quite busted. And at that time, it was really hard. The two companies right now that sell bras for busted women with big boobs. So most of the time, if you find a bra, it doesn't fit you on the waist, but it fits you on the bust.
Mm.
But now there are two companies that actually has the fittings for everyone, which is Double D and there's My Calves as well. So before they opened up in Nairobi, what I'll do is I'll go to the second-hand retailers who sell the second hand bras, which are really
Mm.
good fitting. You can go and choose the one that fits you. And this was along this downtown, forgot River Road, around River Road area. And I'm not ashamed to say this because I
No,
mean sometimes you have to do what you have to do to survive. So whether
no,
you
there's
want,
no shame in that.
there's no
We
shame in
all
that.
did that.
There's no shame in that. So
Mm.
here I am. I've given birth. Now, this is now where it was like, oh, that actually hit hard. Leave alone when I was dating my husband. Now, this is after giving birth. I have my child, but not with my husband because I used to go
Mm.
just there with the baby.
Mm.
So as I walk, there are these ladies who always pull you, especially if you're dark skinned like me, you're a target. They're always just on along those streets to look at people who look like me. And they'll tell you how kuja nikuzie bei mzuri, meaning come myself for you, come myself for you at a very good price. And
Mm.
you dare refuse and say no, they'll abuse you in very big vulgar words. So the best thing to do when you meet those women is you just walk past them. Bad thing, they're always very aggressive, that it even hold your hand or pull you.
Mm.
So you literally have to walk away forcefully. So
Mm.
that is when it first dawned to me that actually to some people this skin has a problem. And then you kind of tend to ignore the fact that this actually happens until last 2 months when I've constantly been getting messages about how I should tan my skin color, how it doesn't look so beautiful. Because in the eyes of social media, my friends have lighter skin and I need to look like them to equate to beauty. You understand? And so I was like, I start to sit down and think for myself, like, I have a husband who chose me as a life partner, someone he has to see every day, who's darker, me myself as a dark woman, and he chose me with my skin color to be with me as a life partner. then that means it's no problem he did. I'm not a mistake. I have a mother who gave birth to me, and the very first time he laid his eyes on me, and even up to today, I'm the most beautiful thing she's ever held. And then I'm like, so where is the problem with the society? You ask yourself, what then is now the wrong part, that your skin color equates to a mistake, ugliness, not being of a worthy person to be on social media. And if you've noticed, my photos on social media, 100% of them are not edited. I post my photos as raw as they're taken. I don't go through editing to lighten. I've done, I think so, with 2 photos. But most of the photos that I do, I'm just like, this is me. Take me or leave me if you want to. So I wanted us to have this because I noticed this platform is where everyone comes to learn about things, to research. I want to buy this. I want to buy Carolite. I want to buy white and what is it called? Fair and White. Where, like, who has the same? We go to YouTube or we go to Google. My mom used to say, ask Google. Google knows everything. So I wanted to have this conversation here as well. And here, have you ever had the same experience? And how was it on your side?
Yes. Thank you. I must commend you. You made, before I go into talking deeply, I just want to commend you for what you say, that you have so many pictures on social media, and most of them you try to make them be as raw as possible and not edit it out.
Yeah.
Not in today's world, not so many people can do that. So many people like to airbrush their pictures and change it here and there. In that, when you meet people sometimes in real life, you're like, oh, who is this? Is this the same person I've been seeing on online and all that? So
yeah,
I am also more or less a little bit like you. I always say, once in a while, you can put the edited pictures, but once in a come out raw. If you've looked at some of my videos, sometimes I don't have makeup. I am just myself, a true representation of who I am, and I think I am beautiful in that way. So before we dig deep into this, I think it will make sense to try and define what colorism is. Yes, personally for me, when I hear about colorism, I always equate it to racism. Although racism is at a macro level.
Wait, colorism is worse than racism, in my opinion. It's worse.
Yes.
I mean, I'm racist, but not colorist.
Yes, I totally agree. So when I always hear colorism, number one, I think about racism. Although racism is at a macro level, whereby it is maybe people of different races discriminating each other based on the color of their skin. Now with colorism, these are people of the same race. People of the same race trying to discriminate and put each other down based on the different skin tones they have. At the end of the day, for example, let's talk about the blacks. Although we know colorism, that doesn't just happen among the black people. Colorism also happens among Asians, among Indians, well. So among us Africans, we are very diverse. We are diverse people. We are a diverse culture. And so even in our looks, we are very diverse. When it comes to skin color, we have people who are very dark. We have people who are brown. We have people who are even yellow, But when it comes to colorism, they tend, most of the time, they favor the light-skinned. So when you're more light-skinned, they think you're more superior, you're more clever, you're better off than the darker skin.
True.
Although one thing I should mention is it doesn't mean that the lighter people don't experience colorism. We all experience colorism, but it is
in different
targets the darker people.
Yeah.
Or the lighter people. I can give an example. Sometimes you'll find an African, a black person who is more light, and then people will throw comments like, "Oh, you're too light to be black."
Or like, for example, when you have like the breakouts, if you're lighter skinned, they show off like really very like pronouncedly. And
Yes.
people will tell you, why don't you just apply some cream and make them all even, like become lighter?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So colorism is not a very good thing, but we have to educate ourselves. We have to educate our children. We have to educate the masses, because sometimes I've realized when people throw some of these comments, they might be well-meaning, but not well-meaning at the same time. Especially when you see an African who is very light-skinned and then tell them, you don't look African enough. For them, they think it's a compliment. But to that person, it really affects them. It affects their self-esteem. I am African, so what are you trying to say I am?
Self-esteem.
Yeah. It affects their self-esteem also. Yeah. And then the other thing, back to my personal story now. While I was growing up, I come from Uganda. So in Uganda, depending on which part of the country you come from, there are certain regions people are more dark. There are certain regions people are more lighter. And then there are certain regions also people think, oh, people have features, the nose, whatever it is, that is more European standard. So if you have the features like more European standard, you're more light, then they think, oh, you're beautiful.
Yeah.
You're beautiful, you're more intelligent. So me, I come from a region where we are up there next to Sudan. We are more dark. And while I was growing up, we were called names because of the color of our skin and where we come from. An example, they called us Wadokoro, Munyanya, and animals. And that means we were not humans. We were not good enough,
Not beautiful enough.
Not beautiful enough, and that is not okay. That is not okay. We all come in different shades, and I think we as African people, we should learn how to appreciate all shades, all colors, all our colors are all beautiful. And in talking about shades of color, it also reminds me, most times when weddings are coming up, in those periods is when suddenly the bride says, oh, I want to look good for my wedding. Who told you don't look good? I want to look good for my wedding. And you know what they mean most times? Oh, is there any lightening cream that I can use to brighten me up very fast so I can look lighter? And but where does that come from? That you're not good enough. I have nothing against people who bleach. I must put this out there. I have nothing against people who bleach. It is their choice, as long as it makes them happy. However, my problem is when you start to pin people against each other, that, oh, because this one is lighter, it's better. For you, dark, you're not better. So that is where the problem comes. But I have nothing against those who bleach.
For me, I'd love to point on, first of all, a disclaimer is that I really do, and I said this also on YouTube, on Instagram, I do embrace my friends, my family members, or anyone who has tanned their skin, because I know the pressure or what amounts to that happening. You understand? But at the same time, I'm not going to put pressure and say you did the wrong thing. No, you did what's right for you at that particular time. Are you able to live with it? That's upon you. Are you able to feel it? That's upon you. Are you contented with who you've become? That's upon you. But what I do know and what I do believe is, and what my mom ever told me, one, I'll start with what my mom ever told me. My mom told me one time, and I think it's about the time I met my husband, and think I've had the same thing twice. When I met my husband, when I started working 3 times, and when I was in high school, these are the times when my color I noticed that actually I was too dark. And the first time in high school, my mom told me, if you ever bleached your skin, you're not my daughter. It was that simple. The second
Mm.
time we talked about this was in when I was working. And my mom said, don't ever think that money, now that you're touching small little monies here and there, you can just go and do whatever you want. You can do anything. Buy yourself a car, buy yourself anything you want. But if you
Mm.
ever change your skin color, that's you're not mine. Because
Mm.
I gave birth to a darker skinned child who I have raised with love, compassion, humility, and means the world to me. And then the last time my mom ever told me about my skin color is when I met my husband. Her first worry was, now that you've met a white person, you're going to change your skin. When immediately I introduced her to my husband, that's the first thing my mom told me. And she told me, I just want you to remember who you are at the core. And there's that child I gave birth to, and she gave me these photos of when I was still a young child. And she said,
Mm.
when I gave birth to you, you were perfect the way you are with this
Yes.
skin tone. I
Mm.
never had to worry about taking you outside because you're going to turn too dark and stuff like that, because you were just perfect the way you were. So if you ever have to change this, my stand still remains. You can never come back to my
Mm.
home.
Mm.
And I think last time I was sharing and saying my parents have always told me if I ever want to, for example, if marriage does not work, come back home. But the only thing I'm not allowed to come back to or home to is after bleaching my skin. So that kind of stands out and shows. Let me open the door. Keep talking. I'm coming.
Okay. Okay. No, I totally understand you, and I totally understand what your parents were trying to do. Um, they have done a great job of raising you and instilling self-esteem and confidence in you. Mm?
Yeah.
I was saying
Yeah.
I totally understand what your parents were doing. They've done a great job of raising you, giving you the self-esteem and confidence.
Mhm.
But on the other hand, your mother was just worried about societal pressure,
Yeah. Yeah.
because there are
True.
things our parents can do for us, but there are things also the outside world puts on us, so much pressure to change, to be
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
else. And yeah,
I
it's
think.
funny because
Uh-huh.
for you, you say your mother was against that. So the funny thing with me, my own mother was bleaching. And it's
How
a
was that for
fight
you?
I have had with her for so many years. You know,
Mhm.
I remember when I was young, my mom, it happened actually after my father had died. So I don't know if there was a crisis she was going through. My mother would bleach to the extent that you would see the veins
In her
in her
skin.
legs, And
Okay.
we as children, we didn't like it. We'd tell her, Mommy, why are you doing that and this and that? And my mom would say, I think I look more beautiful. I think I look more better like that. And why was that? Is because that's what the society in most times says. Sometimes you're a dark-skinned person,
Now
nobody is
I
telling you you're
understand.
beautiful.
I
Nobody
really
tells you you're beautiful.
do.
As soon as you start bleaching, is then, oh, you look much better, you're glowing. What are you doing to your skin
These
these
days you
days?
have money. That's
Yes, you have
so
money, you're rich. Actually, yes, exactly. Because also when you
this
think about colorism, when you're light skinned, they think you have it all together. You know,
yeah.
you have the
Mm-hmm.
money, you're smart, you're intelligent, and all that, but that is not always true.
Everything. Yeah.
And somehow I must confess personally, at some point in my life, before I moved here, I started doing that too. You
I
know,
mean, we all have that pressure.
yes.
We don't judge.
But luckily, I had a friend, a very good friend. When she saw me start doing that, she held me and put me aside and said, Peace, what are you doing to yourself? You have the most beautiful dark skin. Can you please stop bleaching? So sometimes you need friends who can also be very honest with you. So when she
Yeah,
took me
yeah.
aside, she told me, You are beautiful. You have the most beautiful dark skin. Just saying that, I'm like,
Was enough.
okay, it sat so deep with me. I
Yeah.
started to
Yeah.
internalize it and think, and up to today, me, no, I've accepted my skin the way it is, and I know I am okay the way I am.
Just 42 tube says, do you know about European history and how tan skin and pale white skin have sometimes been a sign of status or fashion, but that their roles have even reversed and not stayed fixed? I think with this, it's so funny that we're talking about colorism, considering right now, it's summer, everyone is buying skin tan and stuff like that. And then here you have people telling you you're actually not dark enough.
Yes. Let me make a comment about that. It is the reverse for us. For the Europeans, when you get a tan, you become brown. It means you travel more. You have the money,
Yeah.
you're traveling around the world and all that. But for us, it is the other way around.
Now we have to become lighter, because then when you're lighter, you
Yes.
have no money, you have everything, you've made it in life, and you're now even brilliant. It means, I think for us Black people, it means even when you get your degrees, then get lighter, boom, successful. You understand? And for
Yes,
me,
but
go
hold on. This with us, the light skin colorism within the Black community also goes back to the time of colonialism, also the time of slavery. Those who were lighter skinned had access to more privileges than the darker skinned people. And even up to today in the US, it still plays out. If you are more lighter skinned, you're likely, if you're arrested, you're likely to get a shorter a sentence than a darker person. So this still plays out up to today. And this comes because, America has such a big pop culture.
Yeah.
They influence what we do too in Africa. So that is how it comes from there and comes down. And actually, back in the years during the time of slavery, they had something called the paper test. So there were some clubs in America, if you had to go in and enter, before you entered, they did the paper test. So there was this brown paper they would put next to your skin. If your skin matched it, you were allowed to go in. If your skin didn't match it, out you went. So it caused so much discrimination and hatred among people.
Wow, I'm just setting up this for my Daniel Matthew here. For my son. I think you can go watch it in the sitting room or in the bedroom. Go. I think for me, the fact that what shocked me was to learn that one, and I think this especially after coming here, because I felt like coming here finding products for African people would be more, I don't know. Let me say my mind was telling me it would be more easier because you have products like Vaseline and whatnot. And then when I moved here, I learned about the African shop. And the African store is where you basically go, you get your foods, your hair products, because they don't sell them in the supermarkets. Until now, there's one, like a store in Helsinki that retails all of that. But initially, we used to buy them from Helsinki. Now, when you go to the African store, there's variety of things. But what have actually most of the time shocked me is the fact that every time I'm waiting by the line, by the queue to go and pay, everyone in front of me is always buying a bleaching product, which are the pictures I've posted there. Those are the products that everyone in front of me is always buying those products. And another thing I noticed is if you see amongst the Black women in here, there's a percentage. I wouldn't say how much of the percentage, but there's a percentage that you see someone and you just can tell.
Yes.
That they have tanned their skin, they have bleached their skin, for example. And I'm just like, is it because when we move to Europe, the pressure amounts to being successful, hence bleaching? Or is it because you stand out so you want to be an equal? Or it's hard to know why exactly are we doing this,
No, it's just my opinion. It's not a fact. I just think most people, when they move here, they try to bleach because they want to fit in. They think that if the lighter they are, the more accepted they will be.
Likely to be. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
I
the
think
lighter they are, the more accepted they will be. But the problem is the only people who are laughing are the ones going to the bank with our treasures, because we are giving them so much money based on our insecurities and
I
self-hatred, and
just
we
checked,
should be ashamed about that.
I just checked today the amount of money that African people
Yes.
spend on bleaching products.
Mm.
It's 8 billion
Yes.
on bleaching products.
Based
Imagine
on our insecurity and self-hatred. Can you
imagine
believe that?
someone is becoming a millionaire just because we are not proud enough to embrace this skin and have it and just rock it and go outside and say, this is who I am. This is the authentic me.
Mm.
It's amazing. Like it's shocking. And at the same time,
Mm.
it's just like, wow. Like
Mm.
I'm someone that rich, like
Mm.
you know. And I was also checking like 40% of African women
Mm.
use bleaching product. It means only 60% are not using the bleaching products or have not bleached their skin. Which
Mm.
I'm thinking this 60% includes these cultures that in Kenya, for example, we have tribes. And every tribe with tribes goes our shades. We have different shades according to our tribes.
Mm.
Kikuyus are the lightest in my country, which
Mm.
and the Costorians. I don't know if the coastal people are also the coastal people are also light.
Mm.
But the Swahili people, and then
Mm.
Kikuyu, and then the rest we the shades in between black really matches differs. But Luos are the darkest, and the Kalenjins and the well, there's this place that tea comes from.
Mm.
And the sorry, I have my son
Yeah, that's
here.
okay. Mine will soon be coming in.
Wait a minute. You can keep sharing on something. Let me
Mm.
see.
Mm. No, so what you're trying to say, colorism bias narrows beauty standards. Colorism bias, it narrows beauty standards. Instead of us being accepting and appreciating all the different shades, we only focus on a narrow aspect that only the light skin. We are blinded to all the beauty that is around us in all shades and colors, So
Yeah.
the other
And
thing,
mhm.
how do we should discuss how do we protect our kids against colorism?
I think for me, the first point is always reaffirmation.
Yes.
Because in my house, we are different shades of, I would say, the chocolate color. I have from the darkest to medium light, I would say, medium light.
Yeah.
And for me, it has always been a reaffirmation. I always make sure I let my sons know that they are fearfully, wonderfully made, loved, created.
Yes.
Their skin is meant just for them. For me, it's not like Africans have this skin. For me, it's your skin is perfect just for you. No one
Yes.
else, no one else will walk in your skin and feel so comfortable like you do because it was specifically made just for you. So I make sure that
Yes.
okay. Is what you put for Daniel something to watch? I make sure that I always have to reaffirm that, especially to my elder son. And even these other two, I make sure I reaffirm it every day. It's like a song. I am
Yes.
fearfully and wonderfully made by God. I
You're a
am
good
loved.
mother.
I
Well
am.
done.
I notice you cannot, your children cannot survive it when you come to places where their skin tone actually now stands out. In Kenya, people call these mixed children mzungu.
Yes. And then here they call them.
And then here, they're black. So our
Yes.
children are always in this constant battle of identity.
Yes. Identity crisis.
Who exactly am I? And they find it really hard to understand it because sometimes us as parents don't talk about this.
Mm.
we want to choose for them, this is now who you are. You know, we
Yes.
want to choose for them, you're black, you're white, you're in
Mm.
between, you're this. So for me, I
Mm.
think what has worked for me mostly is to always try and reaffirm it. Every time I get any comment, like someone looked at me like this, I'm like, did you know that if you stand in the sun, your skin glows like golden? I
Mm.
always make sure I have to try and reaffirm it every single time. How do you do it on your side?
Yeah. It's much similar to what you had talked about. I talk to them, tell them, in this world we come in different shades, and
Mhm.
everyone is unique and beautiful the way they are, and nobody should ever tell them different,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
So we
yeah.
talk about it a lot, because there's some people who will say, we don't see color and all that. That is not true. There is color. The most
There is
important thing is talk about it. Let the kids get used to it, so that when an external force is coming in, they are already well built for it. The
they
self-esteem
know.
is there, their confidence is there. They will be able to stand and say, no, I am okay the way I
Yeah,
am.
yeah.
Keep your bleaching things away
Yeah.
from me. Keep
Things away
whatever it
from
is
me. This
away
is
from
how
me.
I came out. This is how I go down.
Yes.
Sorry, are you okay? Okay. Yesterday, Nelly, my friend, she's also called Nelly, she shared about the way she has included, because she's in media,
Mm.
she's made it to her own responsibility that every morning when they're driving to school, which is the school my son used to go to, they would try and listen to local mother tongue news, and
Yes.
the son will try and guess which tribe is talking and how does the person look like. And I feel like in that manner she's able to bring her son into this different
Yes.
variety of
Creating an
tribes.
awareness for him. He's
Exactly.
growing up aware.
Also, and also letting the son create their own narrative of what the person is, so that when they get to that level where there's tribalism, they don't get to see it as this person is against my tribe. Because in my
Mm.
country or in Africa, we also get to go through tribalism, for example.
Yes.
And for me, also, the fact that Sudanese women are being, or men are being called because for
Yeah.
example,
They're being insulted. They're being
yeah,
discriminated and
and if
looked
someone
down
has to pick on
upon.
everything on me but call me a Sudanese,
Mm.
it's like, does it mean you really hate Sudanese people? I have friends
Mm.
who are Sudanese. I have content creators that I do watch their contents who are Sudanese. Like, why
Yes.
do you hate darker skinned people and not just let them authentically be themselves, because that's how they were born?
Yes. Yes.
It's
Yes.
it's so embarrassing, it's so shameful to hear that these actually do happen. And for me, the reason I'm saying it's embarrassing and it's shameful is because this message comes from a person who supposedly does not like you, and they call you a Sudanese. So it means there's actually a problem being a Sudanese and being dark.
Yes. But also, it's very shameful because it's black on black. How dare you? Because at the end of the day, even if you try to change your color and all that, the outside world, you are black.
Exactly.
You'll never be
Exactly.
anything else. So you better accept who you are, you know,
Because no one is going to accept you if you don't accept. Imagine you have
who
your
you are.
body, you have to live in it until you die.
Mm.
Like, do you want to go through these phases where today you're this color, tomorrow you're this color, and then you went to this color, and then you dyed that color orange? I
Yes.
really don't understand. But this
No.
reminds me of one time my mom was a medical practitioner, right? Practitioner.
Yeah.
There was this one time in the village, this lady got was we call it I call it Okada motorbike. She was on a motorbike ride and she had like a big cut on her thigh. And when she came home, she had been bleaching. And when she came home, and for me, these were like the rich people in the community, because she was light skinned. I also believe that. So when she came to my home for stitching, because it was a very big wound that needed to be stitched together, and my mom
Mm.
said with a, why do you have to do this? With a sigh on her voice. And she said, I don't think we should even try stitching you up.
Mm.
And then my mom said, this wound is too big though, it needs to be put together. And then she insisted she wanted to be stitched. And every time my mom would put the needle, but the first needle, she actually tried one time. She put the needle in, and then when she, what is it called? When she took the, it's always carved like this. When
Yes,
she
the
put
hook. Try to hook it up.
the second one, when now you're pulling the second one to get into the skin to tight, it tore. And that was like, for me, that was the day my narrative about bleached people are beautiful changed like that.
Hmm.
And my mom said, I think we have to just go to the hospital, because this was like a home care thing my mom was helping her with. So my mom was like, I think you just have to go to the hospital. We'll wrap you up, take you to the hospital, see how the doctors are able to deal with it. I'm not able to know how it actually went down. But
Hmm.
then I did learn that if you bleach your skin actually weakens up,
Yeah, the last
not as strong,
elasticity.
the elasticity, which is
Yes.
not as strong as it used to be
Yes,
before.
I've had that too. Mm.
And then also last night doing a research on the chemicals that are used on bleaching, and I found out that most of them, especially the ones, let's start from the cheapest, because let's assume not everyone has made it in life, right? There's someone who's looking for a quick way of getting lighter. Now, there's the one I've just shown you when the video was beginning, which
Mm.
is the one that the lady is doing a chemical wash.
Oh,
And basically, they dip you in it and then they have to start scraping it. And I've
that's
seen this
traumatizing.
is the most common bleaching way amongst the French speaking Africans. I don't know which country. Amongst the French, there's an article I saw on BBC Africa, and they're talking about how when you're lighter skin, you're able to get money, you're able to get jobs. One of the ladies was also interviewed, was a prostitute, and she was talking about how it's easier to even get clients as well.
Yeah,
And
that's where
then
the discrimination comes in and all that.
exactly. And then I learned about that. Now that is also the quickest way that African people use when they're going for events or birthdays to lighten their skin so they look more beautiful towards the event, the quickest way. So, like next week, I'm having this big thing, I need to look awesome. The second option is the one we call Mkorogo in my country. Mkorogo
Mm.
is basically a mixture of a lot of things to form a cream. And this, most of the time, dispensed by locals who, it's not like it's something prepared from someone's home or someone's so-called business they just recently opened because bleaching worked for them, which they never tell you what product exactly they used. But they wait until they get to the maximum of now their skin looks even. That's when they launch a product. And I was just checking, and inside that product is a chemical. There's the bleach. The relaxer we use on our hair. They use that in that product
Oh,
as the
oh,
time.
oh.
They put the bleach. They put the kitchen. The one that some of the products we use, they that are used in making the dishwasher thing. They
Oh
put it in
no.
there. And then there was also the something from the gutter water, and then
Oh
steroid.
no. Oh no. Oh no. 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 No.
And then now you're just going to marry yourself in that. Um, my friend is saying, I don't know about that. I bleached my skin and did myself well. We don't want to get lighter to be like white people. Okay, I have a friend of mine here who says, I don't know about that. I bleached my skin and I did a boob job at all, and all went well. We don't want to be lighter to be like white people. So, do you guys mean lighter people are not Africans? Not
No. No.
all.
No. No. I
Not
actually said it from the beginning
we say
that
from the
colorism.
beginning.
From the
Yeah,
beginning, we say that colorism affects
all of
all
us.
shades, different shades of people, the black people,
Even you,
because
Mary, right now, you'll find someone who still tells you, "Mm, I think you're not too light. Like you need to try and add on this part." You'll always find, I don't know if you've gone through the same, but now that you're saying this, there's always that what one person will always point out something that needs to be more lighter than you are right now. Please tell
yes,
me if it's not the truth.
no, it's true. But let me try to answer this person. when we
Mhm.
started this life, we said that racism, colorism, is between people of the same race discriminating against each other based on the
Yeah.
skin tones. And then we
Yeah.
also said we come in different shades. We have very dark people, very light people, and
I love you,
yellow
Mary.
people, you know.
Yeah.
And we said all these groups, we face some kind of colorism. So you have light people who will be told, oh, you don't look dark, African enough. And that
Yeah.
affects them emotionally, mentally, and all that. And then we have some dark people who are told you're too beautiful to be black. So when we
Yeah.
bring this conversation of colorism, it's not to pin each other, not to pin us against each other. We
Yeah.
acknowledge we are all beautiful in
And
our
even
different
she
shades,
herself
whether
said that
you're
she
light, whether you're
tried.
dark, whether you're
Yeah.
yellow. Our
Yeah.
only issue is when we start to use these different shades to discriminate against each other, when we start to use
Exactly.
these different shades to put each other down, to make maybe one group be more superior and affect the other group.
Yeah.
What we're
Yeah.
trying to do here is trying to say, let's embrace each other. You're black, you're beautiful. You're light skin, you're beautiful. You are
Exactly.
yellow, you're beautiful. Let's all have equal opportunities. Let's not be discriminated. For example, if there's that TV advert or whatever it is, put all
Mm-hmm.
different shades. Don't discriminate and just say, we want only this color of people, you know? So, and we have nothing against people who are bleaching as long as they are happy. The only thing is we just don't want that discrimination, because this colorism affects people in so many ways. There's also it affects people in the systematic level, whereby
Mary,
some people are not employed
yeah.
because of the shade of their skin you know
Yeah. I think
so
you add on this, Mary. When I started this, I said, and that's why I'm saying I embrace everyone. If you're able to live with it, I'm fine with
Mary,
that.
thank you. I'm reading what Mary is saying.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. If you feel like where you've gotten to is perfect, that is all that matters in life. You have to be uh fulfilled by the skin you're representing, how you wear that's why we buy clothes. We buy clothes because we want to look a certain way. You understand? You know
Mm,
how you want to look like. So you go to the shop and you choose clothes that you want to wear, for example. And that is why I said, I first of all understand the pressure there is back at home to be lighter.
mm,
And that's why Mary is laughing. I understand the pressure to be lighter. I understand that also the fact that I've lost also jobs because of dark skin. I've worked
mm,
in a farm for close to 5 years, being called
mm,
a Sudanese and not by my name.
mm,
And always having to remind people that my name is Nelly. You know,
mm. And you
I've
a Kenyan.
yes, I've
Mm,
had people pull me by the streets and tell me ndoi dawa hapa kuja come I sell for you something. It's very affordable. So what I'm trying to
keep
say,
talking. My son is awake. I'm
yeah,
coming.
what I'm trying to say is we are all, I can't even know which side of my hair I'm pulling. What I'm trying to say is we are all different. And what has shaped who we are right now is because of some of the things we've had to experience in the past. And also, sometimes you just feel like, you know what? I feel good being black. It's totally okay. But I'm just having a problem with those people who will come to you, for example, right now, Mary, and tell you, oh, your knuckles, for example, let's say things people pick up on easily. Your knuckles are too dark, but I've not seen your knuckles are not dark, or your legs. There's a place where it's really dark. You'll have people who will always point on those issues. Exactly. And we all have dark knuckles. Even you can see mine. We all have dark knuckles, but people always point out on that. And what I'm trying to say is, even once you have bleached your skin, you have to be
Mm,
constantly aware on telling these people, you know what, walk your way, walk aside, because there are people who will always come and point on the fact that you did it, and point on the
mm,
fact that skin is not light to where it needs to be, because in their own mindset,
mm,
there's a targeted skin tone you need to be at.
mm,
So what we're trying to say is we embrace everyone, all our colors, bleach, not bleach, because I also have relatives, I have friends, I have family members who've also bleached their skin. But
mm,
my problem is with those people who keep pushing people towards get your skin bleached, you're too dark, you're a Sudanese, and stuff like that. That is where the problem is. But I do love you, Mary.
Yes, we love you, Mary, and thank you so much for bringing that up, because it also
And
makes the
authentic
discussion very interesting.
Yeah.
But the other thing, the reason why we also do this is because we want to find ways of how do we protect our children. We are mothers, we have young ones, we want them to be okay, you know?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm sorry. A minute.
No worries. Mary is saying, I regret sometimes I think let me mute Kush a little bit. Is saying more beautiful, and I know that I can go back to Sudan if I want. Ni vile nimetoka mbali naogopa kurudi nyuma. Exactly, Mary. Exactly what I was talking about. This actually had not, it's somewhere in my notes here. But what I was saying is, if you choose to now say, for example, I'll stop and just see what happens after this, what is going to happen is that people will start telling you, one, you're poor. Two, your life is not doing as well as it was. And then three, some will also think it's too late to go back. But at the same time, you just need to know that is a choice. You know, by the time you choose to do something, it's something you've sat down and thought about it, and you know how it affects your life. You understand? Because now you're an adult. And then because of that, you know how to live with it, and you have made peace with the fact that you actually did it. But what I'm trying to raise awareness on is the children, the younger people, because now you're an adult, you know what you want for yourself. But then there are children, like, for example, your son or my son or your children, for example, Kush, who are also going to face these same problems and insecurities about being told your skin is not so beautiful. There's that orphan girl somewhere there who's not grown with a mother or a father, who does not get anyone to reaffirm them that actually they look amazing. You know, there's that need to constantly remind everyone that that you are amazing the way you are. Everyone needs to get that person who, because for us it's luckier. I'd say I'm luckier when I get through, when I was going through this, my husband was telling me, you know, actually I prefer you in this type of skin than any shade of lighter. You know, and I know also the qualities that my mom raised me up with. And some of us, like Kush, you're saying before, your mom actually was trying to also do the lightening and you're against it. And there's a way it all affects all of us when we're growing up to now become our own selves. Some part of our lightening is because our parents influenced us, because we constantly saw them doing it. So we thought it's the only
our
way.
role models.
Exactly. Because to me, as a parent, I'm the first book to my children. Before they go to school, I'm the first book they're reading. And how, if I choose to bleach my skin, then I'm also going to influence them that when they grow up, they'll always remember. Because we take photos, children will always know my mom was always darker, but then she turned lighter, for example. Just a minute. Push, you can keep talking.
Miss Dottie says there's a good comment over there. Where she says that low self-esteem can lead to such a situation, but accepting yourself is very important.
Exactly. And for me, it's, you know, self-esteem. Human beings are living books. That is what I call ourselves. Your experience teaches you something. My experience teaches you something. And that is why we don't go through life the same way. That is why your life turns out a different way and my life turns out a different way. Or we get to a certain goal where we wanted to reach, for example, let's say maybe it's a career or we bought a home. We all buy a home, but we all have a different story towards what shaped the place where we are. You understand? And for me, that is why I'm saying we must have this conversation, because your experience is able to teach me something, and my experience is able to teach you something. For example, if you have a darker skinned child like me, my experience is able to make you aware that actually the people who bring your son down because they're too dark to their standards.
Mm.
That is my experience now teaching you what it means to be on the other side and stand watching. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
And then your experience with your parent teaches me that actually someone can be influenced with a parent with a parent. The first
Yeah.
book they read at home.
Yeah.
And then Mary's place also teaches me something else. You understand?
Yes.
So it's a lesson we're all learning, and that's why this topic is so amazing. I'm here saying, stay the way you are.
Yeah.
Wish maybe you could also join and talk to us about this. And Kush is also,
Yes.
I've tried, but I stopped it.
Yeah.
And we're all saying at some point we've had that pressure of having to turn our skin color,
Yes.
to change it.
Yes.
That's
And then
all.
takes, yeah. But
Exactly.
yes. But earlier on, we didn't finish something. We were discussing how we can teach our kids or protect. And you talked about this affirming of your kids, telling them they're beautiful
Yeah.
the way they are. And I had a similar experience. But we forgot to go on and mention the other
Yeah.
things.
Let's
For
continue.
example, like books. We didn't talk about buying books that have different characters, people with different races, people with different shades, so they can see that the world is very diverse. It's not only one shade of people. And then also when you show them films, being intentional with the kind of movies and
Then you
things you
choose.
show them, showing them
Mhm.
people also that have different shades in the
Yeah.
movies, so that
There's
they
a
know
movie
the world is not
by,
narrow.
yeah, there's a movie done by Lupita about
Mm.
Chadwick Boseman. I think that's
Yes.
a
Oh,
superhero movie. There's Sulwe the book. It's an
yes.
amazing story. There's one I saw about curly hair on Amazon. I haven't bought it yet. But I think, as you have said, I agree with you that books are really important because growing up, for example, Jesus was a white person.
Yes.
Everyone who was in heaven was a white person. There's no black
Yes.
person there.
So there was no
In my mind,
representation.
I've not done any research on this. In my mind, and what I've had and what I've been taught, and so I usually ask myself, if Jesus was a white person and everyone in heaven was a white person, where did all the black people
Where
go
do
to?
we belong?
Where do we belong? And it's because the Bible has been washed up to make people think that
Yes.
only Europeans are the equal worthy people to live and go to heaven and deserve good things. Because in heaven, we are told it's the promised place where you have eternal life, and the devil is always the black
The
person.
the black person. Yeah.
Blackest, even in representation of movies and stuff, it's always the blackest. It's only in Lucifer. There's a movie called a series called Lucifer
I'm watching it currently.
where I thought the devil is a light skinned person. You
No,
know,
but
but
in that movie, they thought through it. Every time I watch it, I'm like, what happens if they had put this character to be a black? They would get a backlash for it. So they
exactly.
really carefully thought about it.
And now tell your son, for example, to draw for you the picture of anything they fear most, because every bad thing associated with black thing, they'll
Yeah.
paint it black.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my point is, like, let's try and bring inclusivity in a way that we understand.
Yeah.
When you saying you are cast in the Bible, that we understand, and this could be true. You know, my Sunday school knowledge is still like fresh in my mind because these are the first book things I wrote in my mind. You know, we
Yes.
need to be so thoughtful on what we make our children watch at home.
Mm.
Are they things that represent themselves? For example, with books, like you mentioned, Kush, with
Yes.
movies, for example, there are black women who are writing good narrated stories for
Yes.
women and black men, and
Mm.
these are beautiful stories, but it's because most of the time either we choose not to search because the hassle is too much to find
Mm.
something, or we just go to the thing and then forget we're actually raising a child who might in future deal with this same problem.
Yes. 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 But the other thing also is, even when we show them these movies, it's not just a matter of showing them movies that have black characters, you know, or
Mm-hmm.
dark-skinned characters. It's also
Yeah.
sometimes you need to look for those who are the superheroes, those who are doing so well, you know, those who are the
Yeah.
role models where our kids can look at themselves and say, oh, he's this person who looks just like me and is very successful, you know.
Yeah.
So it's also
Or
being
take, for
intentional
example,
in
if
that
you
way.
see athletics people. I
Mm,
told you, I don't know if you had this, but I was talking last time on my live and saying I've also my muscles are also quoted on part of my ugliness. And I'm
mm,
thinking, before I knew personally, my mom is not muscled, my dad
yeah.
is not muscled. I
Mm.
was very athletic, so I gained muscles along the way naturally,
I
you know.
love muscles. Give them
And
to me anytime.
I've grown up being told how ugly they are over time. This is the one thing I think
Really?
even it was a blind spot for my own mom.
Excuse me.
Sorry. My
Mm,
muscles were always pointed out on the ugliest. And in Africa, especially in my country, if you're
mm.
muscled, I can promise you 100%. Before I became a mother, I never put on heels on my legs.
No?
I never did. You know why? Because if I walk on heels, my muscles are more pronounced. I never wore heels on my legs until my husband was like, I actually love how toned your legs are. And I'm like,
Yeah.
hmm.
I
And then
have
I
the
started going
opposite
to the
problem.
gym. And I started going to the gym, and then I noticed there's a leg day. I'm like, wow, you guys are working to get muscles.
Yes.
Dying of insecurity. And then I met Serena Williams. Then I was like,
Yes.
get me off my feet. Come on.
Have you
Let's
seen how banging her body is?
and I'm just like, women we can be the way we are without someone not having a say on
Mm,
who I need to wear, the Nelly I need to wear, the kush you
mm,
need to wear. You understand?
mm,
And just be
mm,
authentic and live your life the way it is. It's enough
mm,
of that.
mm.
And then another thing is also, I think, making our children reaffirming the thing talked about reaffirming. When you reaffirm your children, even as mixed as they are,
Mm,
to each is very beautiful with the skin tone that they do have. It's
mm,
important, especially
mm,
if you know you're a mother raising kids diverse as mine. It's such an important thing that we cannot neglect.
mm.
You have to keep saying, you are beautiful just the way you are. Your hair is amazing. Sorry,
Excuse me.
your hair is amazing. Your skin is beautiful just the way it is, because to each they have a different shade of chocolate that is not close to mine. My first sign is darker and not dark as me. My
Mm,
second and my third are like all the way on the other very brighter shade of chocolate.
mm.
And to them, I have to all keep reaffirming the fact that they are all beautiful.
Yes.
The way I take care of the first one is not the same way I take care of the second one. The second one is not the same way I take care of the third one. But all
Mm.
of them, they are all beautiful the way they are,
Yeah, yeah. And
even with
that's
their
very important because if we don't do this with time,
hair.
this can also affect their mental health because they'll be
Yeah,
struggling for acceptance, they'll be struggling to fit in, they'll be struggling for other people to like them the way they are. So we
yeah.
have to do the job right now so they are not affected in that way.
I don't
Mhm.
know if you have seen this, but there are also families where, and this is what I'm saying about how I'm raising my children, is
Mm.
because there are families where a lighter skinned child is given better opportunities.
Is more
For
favored. Yeah.
example, for example, we have high school in my country, and you can choose to go to a boarding school.
Mm.
Lighter skinned children will be taken to a better boarding school, and then a
Mm.
darker will be taken to the local boarding school. The difference is how the children are treated in school, the quality of food
Mm.
they eat, the quality of service they get, because
That
in
is
local
sad.
you pay less. In the bigger ones, you pay more. So
That's
because
very
the life of
sad.
a child is equated to success,
Mm.
they're handed over that opportunity. And you, the darkest, have to work from the lowest point where you are and earn that position you're going for.
Mm.
Same happens to family. The one that is lighter is the one who be called, hey, my mom. If it's a boy, my dad. Hey,
Yeah.
this one, my handsome one. All of these good names we give to our children, you'll find that as a parent who's always pointing on the lighter ones, and these children could even come from the same biological father, but they'd always point on the lighter one as the one who's given these luxurious names, and then the rest you're always called by your name or given a nickname. For example, if you did something wrong, you're a pumpkin today. If you did something nice, you're called by your name. Tomorrow, you're never even sometimes having your own name in your own house. That is why we need to talk about these kind of things.
Yes, actually, the point you just made there made me realize that in helping people dealing with colorism, also to help each other, we should learn to identify and define words that may cause skin tone trauma, like just as some of the things you're saying, because sometimes we say them innocently, but they deeply affect children when they're growing up. They cause so much trauma. So we need to be aware of words like that and how they affect others.
Yeah. And also, I think we should constantly reaffirm the self-esteem, build the self-esteem on the children every single day, because
Yes.
most of the time the reason why people do bleaching is because of lack of self-esteem.
Yeah.
What I was going through the last 2 months are things that there are comments that do shake what you believe in.
Yeah.
Like
We are all
you
humans
feel
at the end of the
shaken.
day.
You feel shaken and you're like, should I
No.
try? Should I just try? It shakes you off, it shakes you off your ground a little bit. And I notice if we do not reaffirm every single day, you are beautiful. Walk with pride because your skin is only yours. You are only you. I usually tell my son, Adrian, for example, there'll be many Adrians, but there's only Adrian that is you, who looks like you,
Yes.
talk like you, does everything just the way you do. It can only be one person. And that is why for
Yes.
DNA test, it's only him. There's no similarity.
No.
So
No.
we need to constantly build on that and say economical reasons can be here. It's hard to lose a job and see an opportunity go because you're dark.
Yeah.
But then you can be willing to advocate for that job or advocate on the fact that you lost a job because of your skin tone, or neglect, say, I'm not going to take this because you're being colorist, you're being a colorist, and say, you know
Yes.
what, this is mine, it's mine, but I'm not going to put myself into this pressure of I have to be this person, because the companies, they have the picture of the person they want to show off their brand. If you're
I
working
don't
in
know
a
if it's my
club, you need to
internet
be
or your
brand.
internet. We've lost you a little bit there.
I think it's mine. Is it mine?
Yeah, I think so, because you had disappeared.
Can you see me now?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
But I hope we
Um,
can wind up soon. I have to go.
yeah. Someone is saying, actually, we are cast in the Bibles. That's Mary. And then Mary saying, I'm so happy. I gave birth to my sons while football was winning. There was Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever has been a breakthrough for many people. In the Middle East, don't look like my native people at all. So as a child, it was funny to look at Christian religious pictures compared to the Finns. They have dark hair
It's true.
and skin tones. That's very true. And
That's
then he
very
says
true.
ridiculously, but historically, people's identity seems to be just skin deep.
Skin deep. Yeah.
True as well. Kush, if you are going, you can just let me know when. And
Yes,
I
I
think I'm
think I would like to go soon. But
yeah.
before I
Okay.
go, I just wanted to say a few things
Mhm.
because, as we all know, colorism is very deep. So, my closing remarks would be like, when somebody comes to us and complains that they've been suffering from colorism, we should learn to acknowledge that colorism exists through individuals, institutions, and cultures.
Yeah.
And we should
Mhm.
also learn how to have these difficult conversations with ourselves, but with the people around us, and the implication of colorism. And then
Mhm.
and just a repetition of what I had said earlier, we should learn to identify some of these words that we say to others that can cause trauma. You're too dark skinned. Is it you're too beautiful
You're
for
too
dark skinned,
beautiful to
or
be
you're
that.
not light enough to be African, and all those
Yeah,
things, they create so much trauma for some people and cause an identity crisis.
I
So,
think I really believe I also stand with the same sentiments you shared, and also your beliefs are the same as mine. And I really
mhm.
want to thank you for being here to be also a voice,
Thank you for
and
having me.
for being here always. Just I really appreciate this so much, and everyone who's watching right now, thank you so very much for being here. I don't take it for granted. I think I don't know if you're really in a hurry, it's okay, but
Yes,
thank you
but
so much.
you will
If
switch me off, right?
Okay, let me try that. Thank you so
Mm.
much for being here. So, what I meant to say before, and as Kush was leaving, is the fact that much as things do happen, that you have to change your skin tone or your skin color or look a certain different way. I mean, all of us have gone through that phase where there's the pressure that amounts to you need to look like this to be beautiful, you need to be like this to be accepted. And even if you turn your skin color, your knuckles are always going to be pointed off if they're not as good as your skin tone is. Or someone will always just find a reason as to why you're not beautiful. For example, if you've bleached your skin, there's always that pressure of, I think it's not light enough. I think it's not where it needs to be. And these are people, external forces that affects how our psychological mind thinks about how our skin appears or shows in the public. And this causes low self-esteem and many other issues. But I would want to point out that as an individual, I do support everyone with whatever they choose to do. But on a personal level, I cannot allow myself to succumb to the pressure of bleaching, because this, again, there's a reason why I'm like this, because my parents always reaffirm the fact that I need to stay like this. And I have grown confidence in the skin that I'm wearing that I don't even think of how changing it should look like. But if you have changed it for that reason, it's still very okay as long as you're able to live with it, enjoy being light, and all of that good stuff that comes with being light. And I know also to some places also that also allows you to get job opportunities, life opportunities, which darker skin people are not able to access. So it's a good thing. But I wish many people would also talk about skin color and the fact that it does actually affect people. Imagine if 8 billion goes on skin lightening every month. There are many families who are not able to afford to put food on the table, but you find there's a parent in the same family who's spending money to take on bleaching products. So it's something that we really need to be intentional about. That if you have a neighbor who's darker, tell them they're beautiful. Be that one person who reminds them of how beautiful they are, because then it builds their confidence. And if you have bleached your skin or used anything to bleach your skin, like Mary was saying, also you have that child who you still have to reaffirm at the back there that your skin is beautiful the way you are. You're black. You actually given us example as Wakanda and stuff like those are beautiful things that children grow up knowing about and following through on. And then judging is not a good thing. If someone is darker or have bleached their skin, it's not good to judge. And we human beings judge a lot, but we also need to remind ourselves that we always admire such certain people, their complexion, how they look, how toned this, how healthy their skin is. We're humans. At the end of the day, that all happens. For example, Mary, in my opinion, you are so beautiful. The lighter, I think this color also suits you very well. If you're able to live with it, that's good for me and good for you as well. If you're not able to, it's your life, you're going to live with it. So that's what I'm saying. As much as we admire other people, we should also allow room for diversity and differences, and also embrace those who have done it, those who have not. Tell them that there are people like me and like Kush who are also darker and still love the way they are. And then also those who are on the lighter side, to also make them aware that dark skinned people do exist and we need to all be inclusive. Just like with hair, for example, it's the same thing. The people with curly hair, there are people with darker hair, people with lighter hair, the people with 4A, 4B, 4C, the people with from all the way from number one. So we need to embrace all these diversities and know how to live with each other without having to point to someone and say, your skin has a mistake. Because for me, a good skin is a healthy skin. That's all that matters. Not the color, that it's the color of the wearer, but a healthy skin is a good skin. And that's all that matters to me. So I think as I end this was really a beautiful conversation. I really enjoyed this. If you can play it again, please do so to support me, because I'm still in school and I'm still looking for the watch hours. So that way you are kind of supporting my content. To get to the 4,000 hours. We're so close. I'm about left with about 500 hours to go. So if you replay my playlist on audience retention, you help me in that way. Subscribe to my channel, share it with your friend. At the same time, comment down below on things you'd want to hear us talk about, and I'll be so happy to handle them. Mary, thank you so much for being here. Kush, thank you so much. Just 42 Tube, you've always been so amazing in this platform, and I really love your conversations always, and even our discussions on the comment section. So I really do appreciate that. And everyone else who's been here, thank you so very much for all of you and your presence right here. Spending your time with me was a blessing. Damaris and Andrew, thank you so very much. I need to actually check if you guys have a channel. I need to do that. Miss Ndotu, thank you so very much. Really appreciate it this time. And until the next one, let's just remember diversity. We are all, it's the beauty of a flower or a bouquet of flower is not in just one color. It's if you have the green, the yellow, if there's an orange, if there's a red, if there's a black, all of the colors together makes a beautiful bouquet of flowers. But we need to remember as human beings that the same way nature happens. We all have different skin tones, different shades of chocolate, different shades of light, and even the makeup industry needs to be inclusive. But today we're just talking about colorism amongst the African people. And if you're one person who tries to bring other people down because of their skin color, I think it's high time you also know that the people who exist out here who've either not bleached their skin, have bleached their skin, were born lighter, were born somewhere in a medium shade of chocolate, a darker shade of chocolate, and they love what they have come up with in their own body and they embrace it. So at the end of the day, it's all about just inclusivity. And until the next one, I love you guys so much. Sorry for my sore throat today. It was not working for me with my throat, but we did this. We smashed it. We had an amazing conversation. I love you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Enjoy your summer. Just 42 Tube. I hope you're in Finland. The sun is hot. I hope you're outside basking or in the shade somewhere else. But love all of you so very much. Bye, guys. Bye.